So to follow on from what we did last time we were looking at working on your inner ear and your vestibular apparatus, and we were working on getting that ability to turn and move a lot more. Today we're going to do some investigation into a little bit more balance and utilising your legs and building up strength through your legs, and working on a little bit of single leg standing and single leg balance. So we're continuing to work on your ability to pay attention to your feet and getting good feedback from your feet to help with the rest of your balance. We're also going to begin with a little bit of swaying just to loosen up your whole system, because hopefully you're starting to feel a little bit more confident with your balance and a little bit more relaxed in how you move. And once we start to feel more relaxed in how we move, we then can reduce some of the tension and some of the holding on places that sometimes we develop when we're less confident about moving. And when moving doesn't feel quite such a joyous or a simple thing as perhaps it might used to have done. So we'll begin by grounding ourselves. And again, if you prefer to do it facing the surface, I'm going to look at you because that way you can hear me. But if you feel much happier facing the surface or being in a corner, that's great. Do that. I'm going to begin with our grounding exercise, just standing. If you feel that leaning back against the surface feels quite nice for you, then begin with that. And first of all, I just want you to notice your feet on the floor. Again, I'm in bare feet, and I do this so that it draws your attention to my feet. I ask only that you have bare feet if that feels nice and pleasant to you. If not, of course, wear your normal shoes. Something that's, I always recommend my patients something that's not too squishy, unless you really need that for arthritis maybe in some of the joints, and something that provides a little bit of support is always good. Not something that's going to fall off or slop off like backless slippers, anything like that. Being in bare feet is quite normal to me, so that feels quite a nice way to be working, particularly if what I'm wanting to do is build up that communication with my feet. So we're going to begin with being aware of your heels on the floor, being aware of the front part of your feet on the floor. Just become aware of your big toes and where they make contact, and then the rest of your toes, the outside border of your feet and the inside border of your feet. Just encouraging your brain to have a much better communication with your feet and the floor. And then from this position, we're going to gently sway. Swaying is a lovely way of reducing tension within. And if I ever get back pain or neck pain, I make sure that this is the first thing. The first exercise I do is about grounding and working on relaxing some of that tension that maybe you might feel in the neck or in the upper back. Gently start with swaying. So you're saying hello to your left leg and your right leg. We all tend to have a preferred leg to stand on. You'll notice most people stop on the same leg. Mine tends to be my right leg, but I'm working on that. That's another video that I'm going to do about, which is all about trying to even up the feedback that we get, because quite often we have one leg that we prefer to get feedback from rather than the other. That tends to be the leg we prefer to put our weight through, and the other one tends not to give us good feedback. So just as you're swaying, let's just be aware of that. Be aware which may be your favourite leg. Let's pay attention to that and see whether you can be a little bit less favouritism for your other leg. I often compare them to if you have two children, one that's quiet and doesn't really communicate with you very much, and one that's loud and really needs a lot of attention. We tend to pay a lot of attention to that one, and what we want to do is boost the other child or the other leg, so that it gets better at communicating with us. So from this, we're going to increase the sway. And if I ever get back pain or neck pain, I make sure that this is the first thing. The first exercise I do is about grounding and working on relaxing some of that tension that maybe you might feel in the neck or in the upper back. Gently start with sway. So you're saying hello to your left leg and your right leg. We all tend to have a preferred leg to stand on. You'll notice most people stop on the same leg. Mine tends to be my right leg, but I'm working on that. That's another video that I'm going to do about, which is all about trying to even up the feedback that we get, because quite often we have one leg that we prefer to get feedback from rather than the other. That tends to be the leg we prefer to put our weight through, and the other one tends not to give us good feedback. So just as you're swaying, let's just be aware of that. Be aware which may be your favourite leg. Let's pay attention to that and see whether you can be a little bit less favouritism for your other leg. I often compare them to if you have two children, one that's quiet and doesn't really communicate with you very much, and one that's loud and really needs a lot of attention. We tend to pay a lot of attention to that one, and what we want to do is boost the other child or the other leg, so that it gets better at communicating with us. So from this, we're going to increase the sway so that it feels quite nice. If you're happy not having your hands touching the surface, then you can let the hands gradually move with you. And again, you can do that when you're facing the surface. Or indeed, you can keep your hands on the surface while you're doing the sway. Whatever feels nice. And we're gradually working towards gradually using our hands less and less. That's better. So here you can see me more sideways so that I can hold on each time. I don't want people to build up expectations that they should be able to do these without holding on. Although again, it's where we're working towards being able to balance and not use our hands if at all possible. So we've started off with the exercise where we're grounded, we're doing our swaying, and then after we feel happy about that movement, we've got something that's slightly trickier where we're working on just standing on one leg and being as tall as we possibly can be within that, and then swapping over to the other leg. I like to practice being tall quite a lot, being 4 foot 11 3/4. You've got to get all the height that you can. So within this situation, this position, the exercise is to work towards feeling happy, lifting one leg and then lifting the other. You can, of course, start to do it with less hands, just very gently touching. Or if you need to, you'll probably find that one leg you need to lean much more for than you do the other. That might mean that you need to turn around when you're working on that leg, so that you're really leaning, have the ability to really lean. Particularly if maybe you've suffered a stroke or you've got a particular weakness in one leg. So they're the exercises. It's grounding yourself, it's swaying, and then it's working towards being able to stand on one leg and then the other. And of course, the eventual progression is to be able to be really happy playing around with moving and with your balance. And again, pop the radio on, do a little bit of movements, find the joy in the moving again, bit of dancing. If you've got somebody to play balloon tennis with, then of course that's always something that I'd like to recommend. So with balloon tennis, of course, make sure you don't have anything on the surfaces that you're going to break. I'm not responsible for any breakages. I'm making sure, it's okay, come on. Oscar, come in if he wants to. You're going to come and play, Oscar. Come and play. Come on, Oscar. Ooh. Ready. Okay, you're going to help me.
the thing with balloon tests is that it makes you move your head, so it's really good for working on the vestibular apparatus as well, and it works at quite a good speed, and your hand-eye coordination, so it's you move your head. Perhaps it was a mistake bringing Oscar in. Anyway, I'll leave you with that one. Play with a balloon as a progression if you've got somebody that you can do that with. It's a really good way of building up your fun and building up the joy of movement. I'll send my assistants out. Thank you very much.